Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video day, and today the Philadelphia 76ers have announced that Paul George is going to be out for the season. This is what Shams Charania announced on Twitter, or X, whatever you're going to call it. Philadelphia 76ers Paul George received injections in his left adductor muscle and left knee on Monday. Has been ruled out for the rest of the season. George is expected to be out at least 6 weeks, and in 6 weeks, be the end of April. NBA playoffs begin in the middle of April, which means end of April, beginning of May, which is when this injury would heal for Paul George, is end of first round, maybe beginning of the second round of the NBA playoffs, which the 76ers have no chance of being in. Look, technically, yes, the 76ers could put themselves in a position where they get themselves into the play-in. They're not eliminated from the play-in just yet. But it's very unlikely that happens for them. And even if it did, you're still looking at them having to beat some good teams in the East, some competitive teams in the Eastern Conference in the play-in just to get in the playoffs. So, yeah, that's not going to happen. And even if Philadelphia were to somehow get themselves into the top 10 play-in situation and we're able to win 2 games, because you would have to win 2 games. It wouldn't be, if you're a 7 or 8 seed, you only have to win 1 game and you're in the playoffs. But if you're a 9 or 10 seed, you got to win 2 games. So you'd have to win 2 games, and then you'd be in the playoffs. Even if they did that, which is not going to happen, even if they did do that, I don't think they would rush Paul George back. It would be pointless, because if you're the only situation for you is being the 8th seed. That means you're facing the Cleveland Cavaliers. There is no chance. And I don't think Philly's going to try to win at this point, because if you're Philadelphia, you want to have a good draft pick. You're 22-44, 22-45 now. Maybe I think it's 22-44, and you have a top 5 worst record in the league. And you have a generational talent in Cooper Flag going into the draft this year. And it's not just that, but it's also the fact that if your draft pick is not in the top 7, Oklahoma City gets your draft pick. That's not something you want to see happen at all. But that's one thing. And then here's also what Shams said on X. George spent the past week consulting with doctors on the best treatment options. The 34-year-old suffered 2 hyperextensions in his knee in October and November, a finger tendon injury in January, and dealt with a groin injury in recent weeks. He played 41 games this season. So, and it wasn't just like, it's not like he, in other years prior, injury, Paul George has he's had seasons where he's filled with injuries, but when he's on the court, he's playing great basketball. I mean, he's a 9-time All-Star. He's had many seasons like that. I mean, for instance, 2022-23 season, he was an All-Star and missed 26 games, but averaged 24 points per game. Or the 2021-22 season, he missed 52 games, played only 31 games, but averaged 24 points per game. There are many seasons with the Clippers he's had that, he's been injured, but has played great basketball. That has changed this year for Paul George. He's been injured. He's played 41 games, which means he's, if this is really it, he's out for the season, which he is out for the season. He's not gonna play at all the rest of the season. He's gonna finish the year playing half the season. 41 games, 82 games in the season. Didn't even play more than half the year. Something changed with him this year. 16.2 points per game for him, 4 assists per game, 5 rebounds per game. Field goal percentage was 43%, which was his lowest since the 2021-22 season. 3-point percentage was down this year as well, 35%, which was also the lowest since the 2021-22 season. And another thing is his shot attempts were really down this year. We're down to 14, which really were his lowest shot attempts in a season since 2014-15 season with the Indiana Pacers, when he was only playing 15 minutes per game, coming off the bench for Indiana because he was recovering from an injury. Only played 6 games that year. So does that really count? So his shot attempts were down, and I feel like some people would say, oh yeah, that's because he was playing with Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. I don't find that as a really good excuse of why his shot attempts were down, because Joel Embiid Tyrese Maxey and Paul George were barely on the floor with each other this season. So that's not going to happen again this year. Paul George and Joel Embiid are out for the season. Maxey is injured right now. Who knows if he'll play again this season? I think if you're Philadelphia, you don't. I don't. If you're Philadelphia, because at this point in the season, you want a better draft pick. You don't want to lose your draft pick this year because that is possible. OKC can land their draft pick. You're running, how can OKC land their draft pick? It's because of an Al Horford trade. They traded Al Horford to OKC and they wanted to get rid of his contract. I forgot who Philadelphia got back in that trade, but they had to. I can't remember. I don't want to guess and get it wrong, but they traded Al Horford. They'd signed Al Horford, and he played on their team the 2019-20 season, as some of you probably remember. And then they traded him to OKC, and Horford was on the Thunder for the 2020-21 season. Well, since Horford's contract was horrendous and his age was high, they had to send a first-round pick, and they sent this year's first-round pick in that deal. And now OKC has that, but I think it was top 6 or top 7 protected. So I think it was top 7, but it might have been top 6 protected. And now OKC can get that pick. But the worse Philadelphia does, the better chance they have of keeping their pick. But so I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with that draft pick this summer when the draft lottery happens in May. The draft lottery is May 12th, so not that far away from the draft lottery. So we'll see whether that pick goes to OKC or Philadelphia on May 12th. But I think it's interesting to see what's going to happen with the 76ers team in the offseason. George could be traded. It could be 41 games in Philadelphia, and that's it for George. He might get traded this offseason. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section, and peace out.